We all understand physical laws, right? Like gravity. But have you ever stopped to wonder if there are rules for our inner world that are just as real, just as unbreakable? Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating idea we're calling the forever rules.
So let's just put the core question right out there. Are there actual laws for the soul that work just like the law of gravity? And if you break them, are the consequences just as certain as, say, stepping off a cliff? It's a huge question, and that's what we're going to explore.
In this explainer, we're basically going to be philosophical investigators. We're going to trace the lineage of these so-called forever rules, all the way from ancient law, through Greek philosophy, and into key religious teachings, to see if we can uncover a kind of universal code for the human spirit. So, our investigation begins by tracking how these rules have evolved over time, from commands literally carved in stone to these really profound ideals about the nature of the soul itself.
Let's start with a law that I think we all recognize, an eye for an eye. Now, this is a framework of external justice, right? It's all about the action and its equal punishment. It's really a law for the body, but what about a law for the soul?
Okay, now watch this, because this is a dramatic shift in thinking, thanks to the Greek philosophers. We go from a system that's all external and action-based to one that's internal and virtue-based. See, Plato wasn't really focused on punishing bad actions. He wanted to figure out what makes a soul healthy or sick. For him, vice wasn't a crime. It was a disease of the soul. I mean, this is a revolutionary leap for humanity. This idea that morality isn't just about following orders. It's about cultivating your own inner wellness.
And Plato's Allegory of the cave is the perfect picture of this. He imagines humanity chained up in the dark, just mistaking shadows on a wall for the real world. The journey he's talking about isn't about learning a bunch of external rules. It's about the soul turning inward, turning upward, away from illusion and toward actual truth. So for Plato, here's the bottom line. True understanding isn't about memorizing a rule book. No, it's a personal journey to actually perceive what he calls the idea of good. This is the source of all truth. It's like the sun outside the cave. Once you see that, you don't need a list of rules. You understand goodness itself. All right, so let's keep moving forward and see how this idea evolves. The focus is about to shift from the rational mind of the Greeks to the very center of human experience, the heart. So when we get to the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus offers this totally radical reinterpretation. He says he didn't come to get rid of the old laws, but to fulfill them. And how does he do that? By shifting the focus from the external act to the internal motive. The question is no longer just, what did you do? It's now, what is in your heart?
And you can really see this change in the language of the Beatitudes. The blessings aren't for performing certain rituals or specific actions. They're for embodying a certain state of being poor in spirit, being meek, hungering for what's right. The entire focus just moves completely inward to your character. So, how does this transformation actually work? Well, some theologians have this concept of verbal icons. Think of it this way. These teachings aren't just rules to follow. They are powerful phrases, icons, that when you really sit with them and contemplate them, they act like a window. They give you a vision of the divine, and it's that vision itself that starts to reshape you from the inside out.
Okay, so we've traced a path from external law to internal reason and now to the heart. So what happens if we try to strip away the specific language of each tradition? Is there some universal code, a set of forever rules that they're all pointing towards? Let's see.
Across a lot of esoteric philosophies, the biggest single obstacle to wisdom is what they call the illusion of diversity. Now, just to be clear, this doesn't mean cultural diversity. It means the core belief that we are all separate, independent little beings. This philosophy argues that our sense of being an isolated I is the fundamental illusion we have to get past. And from that idea, a kind of three-step path emerges. First, you have to see beyond the illusion. Recognize that this physical world isn't the whole story. Second, and yeah, it's a strong phrase, you have to annihilate diversity, which just means you have to actively work to overcome that false feeling of being separate. And finally, you align your individual self with the universal whole. This quote from Manly P. Hall really sums up the whole goal of this path perfectly. He suggests that we're not separate beings at all, but just different expressions of one single spirit, who are all kind of deluded into thinking we're alone. And overcoming that delusion, well, that's the whole point of the journey. This all brings us to our final and maybe the most important question: why? Why should we follow these rules? Are they just arbitrary commands from on high, or is there a direct mechanical link between them and our own happiness?
And here it is. This is the crucial point. Across all these philosophies, happiness isn't some reward you get for being good, it's a natural consequence. Aligning your soul with these universal laws doesn't earn you joy. The alignment is the joy, just like warmth is the natural, automatic result of being near a fire.
Plato, again, gives us this incredibly powerful analogy for this. He basically presents two states of the soul. When you're in alignment, following the natural order, that's virtue, which he literally calls the health and beauty and well-being of the soul. But when you defy that order, that's vice, and it's simply the disease and weakness and deformity of the soul. So the final verdict, then, seems to be that breaking one of these forever rules isn't really a crime that gets punished by some external authority. It's an act against your own nature. You are choosing a state of internal disorder, a state of sickness for your own soul. The consequence isn't a punishment. It's the act itself.
And so that brings us right back to where we started, but with a question for you. If these laws of the soul are as real and as unyielding as the law of gravity, what does that mean for us, right here, right now? What is the current state of your soul?